So what's going on, everyone? I hope you're having a good day. Today I have a pretty exciting video for you all, as I'm sure you were all missing the Blackout beta, and you're also very curious about how different the Blackout mode is going to be on day one compared to what we had in the beta. And Game Informer have gone on with David Vahn for a 42-minute video podcast asking him a bunch of community questions, which is amazing. We have a lot of stuff, including improvements, some changes, as well as some really exciting zombies questions. So make sure you stay tuned throughout the entire video to hear all the news, as it's very exciting stuff for the future of Blackout. It sounds incredibly promising. I won't actually include the interview video portion on this video, but if you want to watch it yourself and listen to the Lord himself, I'll have a link down below in the description. Of course, big shout out to Game Informer for getting us this info. But if you're excited for Blackout, I'd love to know down below in the comment section what was your favorite thing about it, and if you're excited for Black Ops 4, definitely drop a like rating and make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not already, for loads and loads of up-to-the-minute Black Ops 4 updates. But let's jump into some of the very important key changes and things from the Blackout beta which are going to be changing going forward. So the big question here is player count. So on the beta it started at 80, it went to 88, and even 100 for the last 2 hours, and it seemed fairly stable for the most part. And they're saying that the player count is still being changed even right now before release, and it's fluctuating between 80 and 100 players all the time. They said that 100 players ran well and better than they expected, but there were some platforms that had some very specific one-off issues, but they're still going to be changing and tinkering it. He still has plans for there to be a 115 player count at some point to honor the zombies legacy, which is really cool, and I'd love to see it happen. A big focus, of course, and the big debate throughout the entire beta was level 3 armor, and they've already came out and stated a load of changes they're going to be making to it, and they're still looking into level 3 armor now and changing it. They've already reduced the effectiveness of level 3 armor by a total of 75%, but that specifically doesn't make the armor any weaker, and of course they're going to be listening to our feedback and tuning it more depending on how exactly it goes. Now, a lot of people as well, including myself, and when I was playing with the zombie boys, JC, he mentioned that it would be amazing if our characters actually spoke, and they are adding an ability for the player where your character can speak. It'd be something that you have to initiate yourself, and you'll see it in multiplayer as well as Blackout. They're working on audio things such as spatialization and footsteps, which that is a priority on which audio tracks are played. They said that footsteps weren't prioritized in the final mix, which it will be now. So if you had any issues with footsteps, now you know why. A big question as well is, why can't we just pick up ammo automatically? It's something which I've asked a lot of you guys as well. If you play Fortnite, you're very used to that system, and they debated it and they've prototyped Blackout where you could pick up ammo automatically, and Treyarch think that you end up requiring the action to pick up ammo anyway, as at some point you're just going to realize you'll be aimlessly picking up any sort of ammo. They understand it's repetitive to be picking up ammo all the time, but you realize and learn to only pick up the ammo you need, so the repetitive action actually isn't that repetitive because you're only doing it for the ammo you specifically need. And I think that's a very fair point. I always say Vahn really always has some great debating points on things which a lot of people are asking about, and just completely flips it on its head to make you think, you know what, that's a pretty good idea. They've also asked, can you turn off friendly fire? Vahn thinks that friendly fire is the way to go. It's a tactical shooter, and they'll deal with team killing specifically in their own way, but they do have ideas to change friendly fire in custom game scenarios. Now, I think the big focus for this video, I'm sure you guys might have clicked on, is a question about, will the map get new points of interest? And he just simply said he cannot announce the plans for the future of the map, but there are plans for the future of the map. The details are amazing, and once the Blackout map has released, that's when you can discuss a little bit of these. But he did hint at the open ocean areas being areas which we might see new areas. And we also asked about any specific holiday events, and he said that in the beta there was 2 events, and if that's any indication of the idea of events in Blackout, then you have your answer. They've gone through 175 event concepts that are new and unique, some big, some small. There is no shortage of ideas, just the will and time to execute them, and again, the events in the beta answered that question. Now, this next thing is really interesting because I'm sure you'll all agree that the rewards you got from the Blightfather were not particularly as great a reward as you would expect from the amount of damage and ammo that thing took. And they are simply, was the Blightfather tuning good? And Vonderhaar comes out and admits that the loot was not worth the time, according to him. He said that it was not appropriate, the loot that you got, and the things that you should have gotten from the Blightfather were items that were not in the beta, stuff which is going to be in the full game, and gave an example that you might be able to unlock zombie characters through some of the items that the Blightfather drops, and this might be a method that we'll see in the game going forward, where you might have to kill particular zombie AIs in order to have the ability to unlock certain characters. He said that he really enjoyed the challenge of the Blightfather, and he really enjoyed as well seeing everyone make the choice of going to defeat the Blightfather and then go and win the game. That was something which he didn't expect. He thought people would maybe just go and try and kill it. It'd be a suicide mission, but he was very surprised that people would actually go in with the objective of defeating it first to get the loot and then continuing to try and win the game. My boy Slickkiller asked, couldn't the circle close around the zombie areas at some points because it would be really, really clever? And Vonderhaar simply replied saying that that might be a special event or a limited time mode where the circle is going to end in zombie areas, meaning it's going to be extremely chaotic because you're going to have tons of zombie AI chasing all the remaining teams. That sounds amazing. They don't have any current plans for a different Blackout map at this point in time. They're clearly only focused on the map we have now and making sure it's great and releasing it and that being absolutely perfect and adapting it as time goes on. They also mentioned that the Collapse, which is the storm, has multiple features that aren't in the game right now, and they've got ideas for content such as items that you can use to allow you to go back into the Collapse and survive. And they noticed specifically that the medium portion of any Blackout game was quite slow, and they noticed that the slow medium game with the speed of the Collapse meant that games were pretty slow, so they might speed up the actual speed of the Collapse so that slow medium game is no more and it's a bit more fast paced. Now I'm sure a lot of you guys are interested as well on the ranking system for Blackout, and someone asked, will it have a similar prestige system to multiplayer? So he's revealed that Blackout has 80 levels, which is a performance-based system. You cannot prestige with this, but at the end of level 80, there is the granddaddy of prizes. Along the way of ranking up, you might unlock some characters along the way too. And level 81 is the highest level you have in the game, but they're going to give this level some sort of name. That ranking system comes purely from getting kills and winning games. It's not like the similar multiplayer leveling up system of just how that works. It's based purely on how you perform in each Battle Royale game. They said that they don't want to give you too many things as you're leveling up because this is a Battle Royale. It's Blackout. They're not going to just give you and throw you everything. When it comes to Easter eggs as well, Vonderhaar mentioned that there are many things, and Vahn is slightly disappointed that more didn't come out in regards to Easter eggs in the form of events. He saw a lot of people discovering little bits and pieces, and Treyarch is staying well clear of what people have discovered because they want to add more things so that more things can be discovered. But they said that once the zombie fans get turned on with this stuff, it's over. There's so many Easter eggs, and highlighted a particular one where if you flush the toilet in Varuk, it's going to play a music Easter egg. So it sounds like there are more zombies themed Easter eggs that are going to be in the full Blackout map. Someone also asked a question about, will the health in zombies be similar to the health mechanic in multiplayer, such as you having to manually heal? And Vonderhaar simply said it's a zombie system, it's not connected to multiplayer. So on that front, no. Someone asked, when will we learn about classified? Vonderhaar says, I don't know. I'm not the sort of person to be asking about that. Here's a great question. They asked, will the transit bus or the driver be in Blackout, and will we see the transit characters? And whilst he didn't know much about the transit characters being in that, he did say that the Treyarch developers are fans of the transit bus. They get it. They understand what the craze and fandom for it is, and that they're going to work on it. So if we see the transit bus in there, I will actually die. That is so cool. With regards to changing some of the squad player limits from maybe 4 to 6 man teams, Treyarch said that they are very confident to try these sort of ideas and experiment configurations on this once the game has launched. They've done this sort of stuff before in multiplayer with stuff like multi-teams, so it's something that they're definitely going to look at. The next question asked was about Killcams, and that was something that was added into the beta a few days after launch, and they're going to improve it where you'll be able to see your health, the player's health as in the enemy, their weapon loadout and their equipment. They're working on all of that, on improving it. The kill cam wasn't working quite the way they intended it, and they are working on it. Now, when it comes also to enhancing the social aspect of spectating, they said at the moment you can only talk to your team right now, and there's a spectating feature that will make it into the full game, which has never been seen before, and they aren't revealing yet. But there are features that we haven't seen yet that will provide additional player awareness to the player you're spectating, and they want to improve the experience so you can watch it to the end and still be enjoying what you're watching. Invent management was also a big deal as well, and Vahn says that he's put a tremendous investment of his own time into getting the system right, and he still has very good ideas on how to improve it. It's in a personal priority list to make it easier, and Vahn just doesn't know how to create a system yet to manage how to organize your inventory whilst you're moving on console. There are ideas and other UX elements in the shipped game for this, but they're still working exactly on how to do it, because he made an example of the grip that you'd have while holding the controller, which he just doesn't really understand. And the last and final point is about casual and competitive Blackout. Could we see like a league play of sorts for Blackout? And they said that their competitive focus is currently only on multiplayer. They do think that they'll see very competitive Blackout tournaments, but you won't be ranked specifically in a competitive leaderboard like you would be for a thing like league play. The Blackout rank system is in a way that is appropriate for the Blackout mode specifically. And that's about all of the info that I managed to gather from that interview. It was a really cool little podcast. Like I said, if you want to check it out fully, I'll have a link down below in the description for it. But let me know what from this you were most excited about. Was it the zombie Easter eggs, the zombie themed events they're going to have planned, the zombies Easter eggs, the new points of interest they're going to be adding? It's all sounding amazing, and I cannot wait to see more. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, but be sure to check out these two videos on screen if you haven't seen them yet, showing a brand new 9 gameplay trailer, which was fantastic, as well as also diving into some great news that is changing the way that PlayStation 4 has its exclusivity deal. But thank you for watching. I'll catch you soon.